Hi? Yeah, there's no energy, yaar. Hi. Yes. Oh, okay, so I'm Manasvi, and so open mic poetry is powerful. Uh, but I think everyone has poetry ka subjective perspective. But I think I'm going to share mine today. अच्छा, कितने लोग हैं यहाँ पे जो poetry लिखते हैं? Yeah, a lot of them. Okay, so I started writing almost 2 years ago, poetries. And ever since I started writing poetries, I realized कि यार ये poetry होती क्या है करके. Because there were so many different thoughts and perspectives about what poetry is कि जमलप हो जाता था यार कि यार exactly है क्या poetry. So I think I'll just try to sum it up with what poetry is for me. I realized that poetry is the language of human emotions. Poetry is the breath in your lungs, the sighs, the stutters. Poetry is like those words hanging in the space between those two mouths right before that kiss. The thrill, that is poetry. Poetry is when your stomach is so full with butterflies that it drops down to your feet. Poetry is the light that you walk away with after digging yourself out with that grief. It is the long conversations by the ocean. Poetry is like the winter's first snowfall. Poetry is the smell of cookies in the oven. Poetry is the first time you fall in love and it breaks you. Poetry is the journey, the story, running and laughing, laughing and running. Poetry is the might of one person and echo of the billions. Poetry is our survival, poetry is our lives, and the final act is writing it down. That is poetry for me. So, after writing poetry down, I was like, Abhi, then I was contemplating ki, what are my poetries about? Okay, so there were times that multiple times I started writing poetry on different perspectives and different topics, but I could never answer a particular thing when someone asked me, what do you write about? So the next poem is on this. I often wonder what my poetry is about. An escape from reality or an escape from fiction. Maybe my poetry is an autocorrect reply to your how are you texts. The feelings may change, but the answers won't. My poetry cries her heart out whenever she sees a toxic masculinity. A man stabbing her wife, a man touching her without consent, a man staring at her cleavage. My poetry is too empathetic. She cares for everyone more than herself. Because she thinks in this universe, there's some reason for everything, a reason that has been hidden since a long time. My poetry dances on Pratikuhat songs, because she finds hope in them. A home similar to her loved ones, a home that she always wanted to live in, a home that is preserved in her heart. My poetry is not judgmental. She is okay with who you are. Or maybe she was too busy finding flaws in herself. My poetry is Newton's third law, because she needs an action for her every reaction. An action that makes her happy, an action that slits her mouth open, an action that she is unable to write on. My poetry includes absurd languages, forever longing, skeptical scenes. If my poetry was a subject, it would be history. History was never written cures, history of uncertainty, history when women were the kings, and history of female revolution. Because just like my poetry, there are so many women out there who are still living a chaotic life of inferiority, of disappointment, of failure. So let's call this poetry she/her. And I say that this poetry is a piece of fiction because it's an escape from reality. A reason that has been hidden since a long time and will continue to be so. Thank you so much. Also with this, I would like to thank Sanchit who gave me this platform to share my views and share my poetry. And secondly, I would also like to use this platform for promoting my book. So, since you all are interested in poetry, I had written a book last year, Yatri Kripaya Dhyan De. It's on Mumbai locals. So, Delhi people who want to get a feeling of what Mumbai is like, do read that book. It's on Amazon available. And yeah, thank you so much. You have been a lovely audience.